Hi, thank you for tuning in. My name is Alyssa Gutierrez, or depending on what platform you're on, it could also be what I know so far. Today, first of all, I always want to start out with a disclaimer. This is not for diagnostic purposes. If anything, I hope you don't have this, or any of these, but since you're here, you probably do, or you know someone who does. Also, I would like to just give the heads up and disclaimer that there's going to be a lot of adult subjects, adult language. Yes, kids can have these things too, but that's more something that I would rather, you can tell your children as much or as little as you want. So, I know that in my previous video, I did say that the people that do know me describe me as very genuine, honest, and altruistic. Sounds like I'm a little full of myself, but I promise I'm not. If anything, it's the opposite. So I'm trying very hard to get better at taking compliments and encouragements. But I am 30 years old. I enlisted in the military, the Army, back in November 2015. I didn't ship till my BCT was in July of 2016. BCT, Basic Combat Training for the Army. I won't say where it was, although if you went there with me, you know. So, but for those of you that don't, day one, the very first day that we went to our new drill instructors, our new battery, I could tell that something was wrong. Now I know that my median nerve was pinched. I could feel it in my palms, and I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know that I had this neuropathy. It's called HNPP, or hereditary neuropathy with liability to pressure palsies. Honestly, I really couldn't have known. I'd never gone through that much, that physically of a demanding environment before, and how stressful, like they make it that way so that these problems do present themselves early on. And, I'm gonna say it again, that my experience was a lot different than most people's. Yes, some people will get injured, but if I had a penny for every time that I was called unique, I could probably get a full body transplant. But anyway, small baby steps. That's why we're here. But back to basic, literally. So as we go along, I can make this as detailed or as general as possible. As we dive into some of the more specific mental and physical health issues, some people, they don't really care for all those details. So I am going to kind of do as much of a summary as I can. But, please comment and share with me. Let me know that you're out there. You are the ones who inspire me, and you are why I am doing this. If it was just me that had CRPS in the world, I probably wouldn't care, honestly, because I wouldn't wish this pain on my worst enemy. Whew. So I also wanted to give you the heads up. Yes, I do have my notes and things, but I would much rather sit here and feel like I was talking to you face to face. For those of you that don't know me, yeah, I can do my makeup. Sometimes with the CRPS it's a little bit harder. The reason why I keep bringing this up and emphasizing this is I wanted to be bare with you. I wanted to be raw and down to who I am. I I just wanted to show you how vulnerable that this makes me. And like I said, I'm gonna mess up a lot. I'm kind of figuring this out as I go on. But if you will work with me, I'll work with you. Uh, we'll get through this. So I had said that I couldn't really know that I had the HMPP, the mouthful. So it usually does set in your early 20s. The other thing is, I'm pretty sure it's on my father's side, but he doesn't like to go to the doctor. He never has, and he still doesn't, even though he has health issues. But they were never on my father's side that I think that they have it. They were never actually diagnosed with it specifically. It's a very, very specific genetic test, and it's very expensive. So I got the answer because I was in the military and they had to get to the root issue. And honestly, I was not diagnosed with the correct things at first. So there was a whole conundrum there. I would like to explain this as an analogy of like an electric cord. So when you have an electric cord, if I can get one to reach over here, you have the rubber lining on the outside, and then you have the metal copper wires on the inside. And that's how I like to describe my nerves. So my copper wires, they do kind of, my axons, the nerve axons, they do kind of, they're a little slow. I have some sensory as well as motor and strength issues in my hands. I have carpal and cubital tunnel in both sides. So you're out there. But anyway, so what really fucked me up was I didn't know that my rubber lining, so the myelin sheath that's around your nerves, mine is demyelinating, so that means it's coming undone and it's degenerative, so it's going to keep getting worse. But I told you I'm being real. But yeah, so because of it being demyelinating, it's inflamed. So in those spaces that are much smaller, like your joints, so my elbows and my wrists were definitely the first to go, and then my knees and my feet, I can't really feel past my knees very much, especially when my neuropathy acts up. So it was kind of this perfect storm that it set me up for those neurological, and yes, my spine is part of the central nervous system, but also for my spine, I have the bulging discs up here in my neck, the cervical. I have arthritis in between my shoulder blades, thoracic, and then my lumbar, I actually had a herniated disc that was operated on while I was in the Army. I have DDD, which is degenerative disc disease. So again, a lot of degenerative things. So as time goes on, I'm going to keep getting worse. And as it is, I have about 10 procedures a year. Ugh. So I try really hard not to think about that and just kind of deal with it as things come up. So I do ask myself, if I would have known this, knowing what I know now, would I have enlisted? And that is a path that it's very easy to go down, and it's very easy for me to start spiraling and just hit that hopelessness and depression, and that doesn't help. It's not gonna, I can't go back in time anyway. So what I like to focus on is, that was how I met Perry. After I did graduate from BCT with no hands, because my hands were so messed up, I could not feel, these 3 fingers. I couldn't even bend them very much, and just very little strength. They're, since, like I said, sensory motor strength. So all of those things were affected. At the very beginning, I had trouble tying my boots and unbuttoning and buttoning my pants. A lot of times I could only fill with these two, so that worked with what I had. I had to. The specialists there, they didn't know what was wrong with me, especially at first. And I went to medics and doctors and specialists, and this was during BCT. And so when I say I graduated with no hands, yes, I still had my hands, but not really. So I try to just focus on that, yes, because I was held over, because I was kept at, almost said the name, but since I was kept there, it did allow me to meet my husband, and I'm so grateful for him. This is not just to make him sound great. I know for sure that I would not be here today without my husband. And for the first 2 years of our marriage, he was stationed in Okinawa, Japan. So I was not able to join him because of my health. My paperwork was denied. So I spent the first 2 years of our marriage alone. I did have extended family that was around me. We weren't exactly very close to begin with, and I don't want to focus or, hold my immediate family accountable for the things that they have done, that they have asked forgiveness for, because I don't hold that against them now. We've learned, we've grown since then. It's been a long time, 6 years. But there is that shame that comes from, that can come from people that are close to you, people that said that they were my friends, even, shamed me, hurt me. They called me a burden. So obviously they weren't very good friends. But you never can really tell, just by looking, what somebody in pain with CRPS or with other chronic pain issues, I have all this different chronic pain, neurological pain, and neurological disorders, conditions, whatever you want to call them. And my pain tolerance is so high now, sitting here, my back is probably a good 5, and my shoulder is probably a good 6, creeping up on a 7. And I'm sitting here talking to you. I can get up and do most things about a 5 or a 6. Once I hit a 7, I start to kind of back off. And sometimes that's even, a windy day. If I am serious. If I am already sensitive enough and the wind will hit my shoulder, that's enough to send me into a flare-up. And what do I mean by that? That was also something I wanted to touch on. I have what I call the hot spots. So mine are the left side of my neck into my shoulder blade and down beside it. I have my left hip, because of that herniated disc, was pinching off the nerve to my left leg. So it still gives me trouble. I have a lot of back pain. So if any of those hot spots are triggered, then, whatever it might be, if something touched it, or vibrations from just riding in the car, it's crazy how sensitive. And yes, people that they don't mean to, but they're like, oh, I just barely touched you. And they shame you and they make you feel bad for asking for help. So then we just wear ourselves down further and further, because we don't want to say no. And me, I definitely had a hard time with saying no, but I'm also a hard worker, and it was very, very hard for me to learn how to slow down and then to speed back up. So that's what I'm trying to do, is to speed back up. I know I've kind of deviated here a few times, but I just want to make sure. So what really pisses me off is that people are so obsessed with, they have to see it to believe it. Like even cancer or like fractures or breaks, like they could see that. So even like, imagery, whatever. So when you look at me, you might be able to see some of the things with my spine. You can't really see the neurological things. And a lot of time injury does precede the CRPS. Mine was a little bit more gradual, and also, like I said, the perfect storm with my neuropathy, as well as being in such a stressful and physically demanding environment. So when I do get triggered, I just have these waves of extremely intense pain, and the only thing that I can do is write it out. That's it. I've gone to the ER in the past. The sergeants used to take me to the ER every time that I had a flare-up. It honestly made me feel worse because all of that, in a bumpy truck. So yeah, it would just make me feel worse, and it's just more of a pain in the butt than anything. But they can only give you maybe like a shot of Toradol. And the other thing is there's so many seekers, which I don't have enough time to really touch on that in this video. But basically there are people that have come before us that screw us over. Maybe they milked it, maybe they pushed it too far. They took advantage of the system, they took advantage of doctors and things. I will post this to my different social media. I want to post a picture of, you can Google the McGill pain scale, and like I said, I will post it, but literally you can see it's a diagram of, you have, your fractures, your breaks, your migraines, and then you might have, assisted childbirth, and then natural childbirth, up here. And then you're probably gonna have cancer pain. But then up here, yes, I went off the screen, but way up here, that's CRPS. I'm not making this up. You can Google it yourself. It is literally called the suicide disease. It's claimed about half of the people that have CRPS. What other condition is okay for half of its patients to fucking commit suicide? Like, yes, I'm not venting or mad at you. I am trying to emphasize this, that something is terribly wrong. And if you're still here, you're still watching this, we've got to be the squeaky wheel that gets the oil. We've got to speak up and say something. If you are still here, then either you or someone that you know needs this video, needs to pass it along. So that's the only way that we're going, is if we keep passing this along. It's very near and dear to my heart. I've wondered, how to stay motivated, how to even go about doing these videos. I hope that this kind of sums up a little bit better than what I could actually say. Recently my husband and I watched I think it was the last Spider-Man that has Tom Holland in it. And towards the end, Aunt May dies. Oops. Spoiler alert. And Happy does not remember who Peter Parker is, and they're at the gravesite They're looking down, and Happy says, "It hurts because they're gone, and it hurts because you remember what they stood for. And you wonder, is all of that gone too?" And Peter said, "No, it's not gone. Everyone that she helped, they'll keep it going. So if it's if it is for one person, if it's for you, if for the person that you know, it might not even be me. If you pass this along, if you share, you subscribe, we get this word out there, we raise awareness. Yes, specifically for the CRPS. We will touch on the other subjects later. But I specifically wanted to get this out here, even if I'm not as prepared as I want to be, I'm messing up. I just want to talk to you face to face. And unfortunately, I have to talk to a picture of myself. But I would love to be able to talk to you better face to face. So yes, message me, comment, ask me questions. What do you want to hear about next? Was there something maybe you didn't understand, or maybe I didn't explain very well? Would you like to go into something into further detail? Or perhaps I am going into too much detail. I just appreciate your patience, and thank you so much for your love and support that I've already seen just from my first video. You all are amazing, and I truly mean it when you inspire me to keep doing this. Okay, last thing. When you are in that type of pain, when you feel that type of pain, you don't want anybody else to know what that feels like, much less to live in it. And yes, another sappy quote, but this one's by Robin Williams, and I do share this one every time I see this meme, especially it was like after he died. But it definitely, it speaks to me, it speaks to my heart. If I can't, help make it so that if I'm helpless to make it that so that you're not in pain, at least you are not alone anymore. I want to validate you that yes, your pain is real, and yes, we will get through this together. But if I can't take it away, I just want to spare as much as I can. Robin Williams said, and I'm going to end with this, I think the saddest people always try their hardest to make people happy because they know what it feels like to feel absolutely worthless, and they don't want anyone else to feel like that, and I don't want you to either. Until next time, I have to say this again, like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know that you're out there. Let me know if anything helps you or someone that you know. And like I said, reach out to me, ask me questions. Reach out to people in the group that I will also share a link. Other people that have this, that have been supporting me. But I do have to get off of here. So until next time, I love you. I'm praying for you. My heart goes out to you. Thank you.